Well, the opponent may have been the same. The result may have been the same, but the effort certainly wasn't. And that is not a bad thing. The Blazers remained in Denver after a loss on Monday night, and they went into tonight. They lost again, 132 to 121. Injury depleted. DeAndre Ayton, Scoot Henderson, Robert Williams, Jeremy Grant, all not playing in this game. But the Blazers did what we talked about in the pregame show. They locked in and they did everything they could defensively against a very, very good Denver team who had one man in particular who could not be stopped tonight. They still shot 51% from the floor, but the Blazers showed an absolute undying effort in this one, especially late. Toumani Camara taking charges down 16 points. The Blazers going on a run, cutting it to 6 points late, having a chance, running out of gas. Donovan Clingan having another career best night. I think this was everything you wanted in a loss, right? The losses are never great, but it was everything you wanted in a loss because they played so much better than they did 2 nights ago. Taking a look at the box score in this one, I mean, you're like, yeah, Jamal Murray, 55 points. What's going on? He was unstoppable. But it was so many little effort plays in this one that made you go, that's what you like to see. That's what you want this Blazer team to do.
Sharp across the.
On the plus side, the Blazers did, or the Nuggets did not start the game 11 for 11 from the floor in this one. Defense was a little more locked in. They did lead 40 to 27 after the first quarter. Okay, 56% shooting. And it's like, okay, how can we do this? How can we do this? We need to get going. They had 11 assists on 13 field goals in that first quarter. Defensively, you needed to lock in. Denver then started the second quarter on a 10-2 run. But the Blazers answered on a 22-8 run of their own. Denver found a way to get back. They ended the quarter outscoring the Blazers 18-7. They led 76-56 at halftime. Now in the third quarter, the Blazers did something they hadn't done all last game. That was outscore the Nuggets in the quarter. Outscored them 35-32, which was nice to see, right? 4 quarters in last game, 2 quarters in this one. That was 6 straight quarters they hadn't outscored the Nuggets. And then they got them there 35-32. And they got them by another 5 points, 30-25 in the fourth quarter. And again, it was just hustle, 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 hustle. Donovan Clingan hustling on the boards. Toumani Camara taking charges. Delano Banton. Everybody was locked in a good way. So like I said, the teams were the same. The result was the same. The effort was not. The effort was much changed. This is the fifth quarter presented by Coors Light. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. If you want to follow me, Chris J. Burkhardt is the name on social. You can also join the conversation with us. 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. And youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio. You can join the chat there. I now welcome in my co-host for the evening, Peyton Davis. And Peyton, what were some of your takeaways from this game?
Yeah, I think you hit it pretty well so far. A lot of what I saw was what you kind of talked about already. Like there was so many opportunities for the Blazers to fall apart here. Like you said, even Toumani taking a charge down 16. I think there's 8 minutes left.
Right.
And this is a game that the Blazers last year probably lose by 50, and we have our heads hanging walking home. But, a couple things you see that you like, a lot of effort. Shaedon starts super slow, 1 for 9, 1 for 10 maybe, finishes the game with, team high in assists 7 and finishes 5 for 15 with a couple good shots down the stretch. So, and then obviously Donovan Clingan just giving it his all night, playing probably seemed like some of the most minutes he's played all season. So it was awesome.
It was a great night for Donovan Clingan, another career night for him in this one after having a great performance in the first game again, where he was just thrust into the lineup due to the injuries, right? Keep in mind in that game just 2 nights ago, DA goes down, Robert Williams wasn't playing. Donovan Clingan goes out there, gets a career-high 21 points. So now tonight he goes out there, gets a career-high 20 rebounds. Not very often to see a guy have more rebounds than he did points. and he had 17 points too. So it's not as if, oh, he had 2 points and 3 rebounds.
Yeah.
Look at that. No, it was a great performance. In fact, Peyton, the 20 rebounds tonight, like I said, career high. He's the first rookie to record 20 rebounds in a game since 1985 when Sam Bowie did it.
Really?
Yep, that was on April 7th, 1985. His 20 rebounds are the most in a game by any rookie this season. Not bad. He is just the second rookie in the last 10 seasons to record a game with 15 points, 20 rebounds, and 3 blocks.
Wow.
The other one. If you can name the other one, Brendan, without looking, you two, I'm going to put you on blast here. Put you on
in the last
spotlight
10 years?
on you. In the last 10 years, he is just the second rookie in the last 10 seasons to record a game of 15, 20, and 3. Can you name the other rookie? Do, 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 do. I added a note like Vanilla Ice, right? Come on. Any guess? Got 3, 2, 1.
Oh, man.
Victor Wembanyama. The only
Should
other
have been
rookie.
my first guess, honestly.
Only other rookie.
Should have been my first guess.
Him and DC, the only two to do that in the last 10 years. Pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, that's good company if I say so.
Pretty darn impressive. Now, he had a good game. You mentioned, too, Shea starting the game slow. I think maybe coach is very serious about this whole, if you're not playing defense, you're not getting on the floor thing because, I mean, come on. You got no Scoot. Everyone's hurt. And Shaedon Sharpe doesn't get the start. Chris Murray gets the start in this one. He ended up playing 19 minutes. Shaedon Sharpe did get 30. So he got the lion's share, but I think maybe a little bit of a message continuing to be sent there.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about it, even into the second half, you don't see Shea until about the 5-minute mark into the third quarter. He sits for quite a bit of that third at the beginning too. So it's, obviously it's great that you see Chauncey let him ride out the rest of the game after that. But at the same time, mixed feelings as a fan looking at that being like, oh, it seems pretty obvious to me Shaedon's starting tonight, and then you don't see that. You go, something's got to be wrong, just from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Gamian Skillard, who he jumps in and chats every once in a while. Not all the time, but I think the very first time he did, I called him out for having an objectively awesome YouTube handle.
Of course.
Gamian Skillard.
Of course.
I mean, it made you just chuckle when I said it out loud.
I thought you were playing a prank on me.
No. But he chimes in and says, Klingon will achieve a 30-rebound game this year. You heard it here first. Nearly definitely a 25-rebound game, worst case. Wouldn't that be something?
All right, well, I'll know who said it.
Wouldn't that? You will. You will know that.
Won't forget that.
It was Gamian Skillard who said it. But Donovan Klingon tonight, as we mentioned there, Peyton, he comes in, gets that start. He plays 31 minutes, which, again, you don't see that very often from him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Casey Holdall pointed out as well that not only did he play big minutes, did he have a great game, he did it at altitude. And that's a real thing. For a guy who's been hit for his cardio not being in the best of places, right, and needing to get in game shape, that the running at altitude is real. It is real. I didn't know it until I went to Denver and I had to run from the locker room to the floor for a pregame hit. And when I got there, I was like, and this was not like current Chris who's out of shape and does that just normally. This was in shape Chris going like, whoa, this is crazy work.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Wow.
Yeah, think about that.
Mile
Pretty
high.
good.
I mean, 31 minutes, yeah, mile high is crazy.
I say you don't see it.
Crazy.
I see you don't see it very often. He has only played 38 minutes, more than 30 minutes, just one other time all season long, and that was back on November 13th.
Wow.
When again he gets into the game, there's injuries, and DA's out. He gets the start, and that was the game that he had 8 blocks. Right, so something tells me good things happen when Donovan Klingon gets a start and plays 30 minutes a night. Oh, one night he gets 8 blocks, the next night he gets 20 rebounds. Granted, those 2 nights were 3 months apart, but still, something to be said about him taking advantage of those minutes. Now, you pointed it out in real time, and you could see it though. But late in that game, boy was gassed.
Oh yeah,
I think was it Christian Brown who went up and got him with that shoulder. And you could just tell he was he won the review, but he was just he was out of it.
Got under him a little bit, and he was like,
Yeah, he got under it a little bit. But no, this game overall, again, a good performance, all things considered. I think you take it. We've said all year long since day one that the wins and losses to me do not matter as much as how the team performs in those wins and losses. And we've seen absolutely bad losses: Utah, Memphis, Golden State to start the year.
Yeah.
Monday night in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
This was not one. It was a great effort by a bunch of guys, some of whom, who aren't usually thrown into those situations. I mean, 18 minutes tonight from Jabari Walker. Rupert went in a little bit, which is a classic Chauncey, like, hey, I need someone else to get going.
Mm-hmm.
As you pointed out,
Mm-hmm.
got in a little bit instead of Shea, but Shea still got his 30 minutes.
Totally.
Yeah, taking a look overall at the box score, the Nuggets were led by career high 55 points from Jamal Murray, who I blame Peyton for, because in the pregame he's like, people used to always talk about Murray being as good as Dame and Kyrie Irving, and I just don't know about that. And then he goes and has a career night. It's your fault because you spoke it.
It is, honestly. I should have known myself, but yeah, never mind. Whatever. If I keep saying bad stuff, he's gonna do it again.
But he was on a heater. I mean, he took 36 shots, but he made 20 of them. So he still shot 55% from the floor.
Yeah.
7 of 15 from beyond the arc. So it was a very good night for him. 26 points for Nikola Jokic, including 15 rebounds and 10 assists. So a quiet double-double or a triple-double for him. And then, Christian Brown, he had 21 points, 11 points from Julian Strother, who had a moment. It was just felt like he couldn't miss because he hit a couple of them back to back to back. And then on the Blazers side, Toumani Camara ended with 13 points, 3 block shots, a couple nice charges taken. They needed that. Chris Murray, 6 points in his start. Donovan Clingan, as we mentioned, 17 points, 20 rebounds, 26 points from Anthony Simons. Denny Avdia, 14 points, 5 boards, and an assist. 14 points from Delano Banton, 14 points from Shaedon Sharpe, and 17 points from Jabari Walker, who went 6 of 7 from the floor, 3 for 3 from beyond the arc. In fact, in this game where you sit there and you try to find the good and the silver linings, Chris Murray is the only person who played significant minutes. Let's throw Ryan Rupert out of this equation for a second because he only played 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But Chris Murray is the only player who played significant minutes who didn't score in double figures. I mean, every other Blazer player basically 14 or 13 or more. So very, very good. Again, nice balance, good performance, all things considered. And this is where, you can get excited when you start to think how the team will build moving forward, because these are the type of things you want to see. This was a game led by who? Toumani, Chris, Donovan, Denny, Shea, Jabari, all the young guys, some of whom may not be here next year, but still young guys nonetheless. And you like to see it. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, get in on the chat there. Hopefully you're sitting inside your living room or something and right by the fire, staying nice and warm because, oh my goodness, is it chilly outside? The wind chill makes it even worse. Reports that ice and snow are coming over the night, so be safe out there, everybody. Again, just enjoy a nice little fire. Sit down, listen to the fifth quarter. We're going to take a quick little break here. This is the fifth quarter presented by Coors Light on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio, 620.
It's time for the fifth quarter drive of the night on your home of the Portland Trailblazers, 620 Rip City Radio.
Sharp out on the perimeter, crosses over, slides it to Walker, who drives and dunks it in. A beautiful pass from Shaden Sharp to Jabari Walker.
It's time for the fifth quarter shot of the night on your home of the Portland Trailblazers, 620 Rip City Radio.
Here are the Blazers the other way. The lob to Sharp, banks it in off the feed from Banton. 111-100. 7-0 Trailblazers run.
See, Brendan was able to find good plays. That means it wasn't all bad tonight. It wasn't all bad tonight. Oh, man. But the Blazers, they did fall to the Nuggets tonight, 132-121. And as Peyton and I were saying in the first segment and during the break there as we continued our conversation, it was one of those games, Peyton, where I think that even though you lost, there's a lot of good that you can find in this game. And we were talking about Donovan Clingan. Think about Donovan Clingan for a second. Not only did he go out and get 20 rebounds tonight, he went out and got 20 rebounds on the same court as Nikola Jokic.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hard to do.
And yes. And I think another thing, too, is like people will look at this game and be like, oh, he had 3 blocks, great defensively. There was also a lot of switching. Tamani took on Jokic a lot, but like this was not a easy game for Jokic. I understand you look and you're like, he had a quiet triple-double. He's the greatest player in the world. He's the best player in the world right now. Like, he's going to do that. But for a guy who's 20 years old to come in and have almost a 20-20 game on the best player in the world, it's
pretty good.
It's a great showing. It's a great showing.
No, it's absolutely pretty good. And I like this game because I've been big on him getting minutes and making certain mistakes to learn from those mistakes.
Absolutely.
And he made one tonight, and Lamar Hurd did a great job of breaking it down. But there was a play there in the game where Jamal Murray comes up, Jokic sets a pick, another offensive player comes up and sets a pick. It's a double pick, and Tumani Kamara gets around the first pick and then drops.
Yes.
Right? And in that situation, Donovan Clingan was the next guy over. He should come up and defend the shooter, but
he should either hedge or exactly.
He's so used to drop coverage that he dropped too. So you got a double drop coverage. Murray hits the 3.
Yeah.
Easy bucket. And it's like one of those things that like Lamar did a great job breaking down. You get it as you're watching it because you were saying the same thing. And it's like there's tape of that now. He can learn from that, understand that he has to do it. And it's something that Coach Billups was talking about after the game last game.
Yeah.
Right? Was talking about how not a lot of pick and rolls or those situations come with a center that high up who runs the offense. And in that situation, the ball was in Murray's hands, but it was still having Jokic up there, it was taking Clingan out of the paint, and now he needs to understand where he's going and how to defend that.
Exactly.
And he has a weakness defending up at the arc right now, which he'll learn. But again, you get there, you make that mistake, you learn from it, which is good to see because I think he's the type of guy who understands. I can go watch that now on the iPad, learn from it, and get better because of it.
Absolutely. And and we've been talking about this the whole time. We're talking about guys that are between the ages of 20 and 23. Like, Donovan Clingan is a 20-year-old. And so you look at that and you're like, I'd rather have him in the game making those mistakes, being like, I know what it looks like to have double drop coverage or know what my assignment is in the game versus I see it from the sideline. You know, like that's totally different. And I think that's just going to help him immensely.
Well, and quite frankly, as good as he is and as good as he was in college, he never faced anything close to Jokic or Murray. Or, he didn't play tonight, but nothing close to an Aaron Gordon. Heck, I don't know if he faced anything close to a Christian Brown. No. It's just how good the NBA is.
And what did we talk about an hour before the show where it's like when you watch younger guys, because we were talking about how young the Blazers are, when you have younger guys, it's like there is a real gap between high-level Division I basketball and the NBA.
Right.
High-level G League basketball and the NBA. And so when you're in that phase of really trying to pick up your speed, it's like that's a part of the game. Jamal Murray is going to be way faster than anybody you've seen in college or other parts of the game or other leagues. So it's like getting used to that tempo is great for a guy like DC.
Yeah, people need to understand that. And it's just in every league. I remember I covered a Seahawks, I want to say it was Seahawks-Panthers game. I think Chris Sims was playing quarterback for the Panthers at the time. And Chris Sims, notoriously not good NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Right? And I watched that game, going into that game, knowing that was the narrative on him, is he wasn't good, probably wasn't long for the league. And then I watched him make throws that I had never seen a college quarterback make in person. And I was like, okay, granted, this is an NFL game.
Yeah.
But that was my realization moment of the talent gap between college and the pros.
100%.
Because this guy could go to any college right then and there and be the best quarterback in the country. And he was a pretty good quarterback in college, right?
Yeah.
But in the NFL, he's like, yeah, he's going to play for a couple teams, then he's going to get kicked out, and then he's going to be an analyst.
Yeah.
Because of the talent gap. And it was not to say he was a bad quarterback. He was bad relative to some of the other quarterbacks around him, but he was still making throws that college quarterbacks could only dream of making.
100%.
And that's how the NFL is too, the NBA is too. I mean, all these guys, like you like a guy that we talk about a little bit who, what is his NBA future because he has holes in his game, like a Jabari Walker.
Yeah.
Like you take a Jabari Walker right now with the size he's put on, the knowledge he'd go into the a college game right now and put up a 2020 game without even thinking about it.
What was it? Was it him or was it Duop Reith who had 37 last week in the G League? I think it was Jabari.
He had a big game.
He had like 37 and 17, I want to say, in the G League. And it was like, and I think that's great for guys too, but it's like that just shows the talent gap. There's not a single Nikola Jokic in the G League. There's not a single Jamal Murray in the G League. That's like it's just different.
Yeah.
Different.
And there's also a lot of people who think, oh, that's the G League though. It's a bunch of random guys who are never making it to the NBA.
Mm-mm.
No, it's a bunch of guys who are fringe NBA players. And if you took one of those G League teams and put them into March Madness, they're probably getting to the Final Four. You know what I'm saying? Like I love the Oregon Ducks. You guys know I'm a Duck homer. You put the current Oregon Ducks team against the Rip City Remix, and they're probably getting ran out of the gym.
Yeah.
Granted, a lot of teams are running the Ducks out of the gym, but you get my point. All right, if you want to join the conversation, youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio. You can get in on the chat there. Let's see where Jason says, so the Blazers picked DC with the 7th overall pick, right? When I was a kid, the idea of drafting a utility big at 7 meant you didn't know what you were doing. How times have changed. Hey, man, the entire draft is crazy right now because there's so much depth and so much talent to be found. We went through this the other day, how many great players have been drafted outside of number 1. Like everyone's talking about Cooper Flag, and this is the thing that irks me a little bit about Cooper Flag is everybody talks about every single draft as if it's the top player and then nobody else, right? Oh, this is the consensus overall number 1 overall pick. He gets all the love, but Clyde Drexler was the 14th overall pick. Was Damian Lillard the number 1 overall pick?
No,
and it worked out pretty well for you.
That was because there were some pretty horrendous picks in front of Damian Lillard, Chris. I mean, you go back and look, there were some horrendous picks.
Yes.
I mean, I'll counter and say last year, nobody. I mean, there was a thought that Risa Shea would go number 1. There was a thought that Sarr would go number 1. So it's not always, but sometimes drafts are, I mean, you think about it last year, Chris, Donovan Clingan, I think, as best I can remember, kind of fell into the Blazers' lap at where they were drafting. And, now you kind of look at it, like I know that Stephon Castle's had a pretty good year, but like kind of look at it. Donovan Clingan's got to be right up there with the rookies, maybe not quite as polished immediately as like a Zach Edey, who's got slightly better stats at the moment and plays a little bit more, starts more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but that's the whole point. Even Zach Edey, right? He wasn't the number 1 overall pick.
And I think if Donovan Clingan goes over to Memphis, I think he's.
If you swap those two guys, that would be
game.
interesting to see.
We went through the 2023 draft earlier, Brendan, right?
Yeah.
Where obviously it was Victor Wembanyama over number 1 overall, and that one is again that was clear he was number 1. And then everyone talked about, what about after that? I was a big fan of Brandon Miller. I was really, really hoping that he would fall into the Blazers' lap because I was like, put him at small forward next to Dame, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Right? But then you look at the rest of that draft, too. I mean, both Thompson twins have had their moments. Anthony Black has been pretty good for the Magic. Jarris Walker, Balil Coulibaly, I know I always mess that name up.
It's a toughie.
Cason Wallace, who's been pretty darn good in his moments there with Oklahoma City, right? So, again, you can find a Pajemski. Yeah, people like him down there at Golden State. So, again, you got some dude named Chris Murray taking 23rd overall. I mean, come on. Dude was starter in the NBA tonight. So, but that's just my point. It's just you just never you never know. It's not always just number 1 and overall. Also, it's not as if everyone taken ahead of Dame was bad. I mean, Anthony Davis is pretty good. Bradley Beal was pretty good.
Yeah.
But
I also think
you would take Dame over Bradley Beal. I don't think that's a question.
Right now, yes, but at the time, Bradley Beal made sense.
Yeah.
But
hindsight's
again,
2020.
you're leaving out the three that I think you
Michael
really
Ki-
need to list.
Kid Gilchrist was a head scratcher.
Even he's okay. The other two.
Deion Waiters was all right. Thomas Robinson cracking that was crazy.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he cracked that.
I also think that this
Deion
is
Waiters.
no
many
offense.
memes.
Yeah. No offense to obviously like all NBA basketball fans, stuff like that, but also it's just like I think some people think they're more tapped in or understand more than they really do, me included. It's just like we aren't seeing all the, draft reports. We aren't seeing all the extended stats. We aren't watching every single game of every single college prospect that's coming into the draft. Like stuff like that just obviously flies all over so many fans' heads.
Well, I've said this before, and I will hold to it. I will hold to it, man. I am locked in watching all these Blazer games. We mentioned this because how many games now has the captain done, Brendan? You got the number off the top of your head?
Like 2,290?
Something like that.
Yeah,
that's what it was Chad was talking about earlier. And we did the math too. It's like I think I'd have to go back and see exactly how much, but my first game ever was February 18th against the San Antonio Spurs in 2014. And that was when I got hired there by then Comcast Sports Northwest. And I have covered every single game, either at home, on the road, or here in the studio since then. So I have covered about 850 at least
I
Blazer
think.
games.
My math's not great, but that sounds right.
And the point I'm making is not to toot my horn and say, look how many games I've covered, look at me. It's the fact that I hold to this because people ask me quite often, oh, who do you like in the draft right now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know Cooper Flagg's good. I watch that many Blazer games. I'm watching 82 of them a year. I'm watching other NBA games because I need to know who we're playing, what these players are like. I need to understand the league, right? I do not have time to understand anything about the college basketball game until the end of the season, and then I do my dive and start watching tape, reading up on prospects, doing all my research, getting an idea of who is what. And then, again, we live in a great world where you can go on YouTube and you have game tape there and you can watch different guys and really get an idea of what you want and who you like in the draft. And I always have an idea. Like I usually go into drafts like having players that I really like. Last year, I really liked Brandon Miller. Year before that, Ben Mathurin was my favorite player in the draft. Couple years ago, it was Admiral Schofield. I didn't say, and by favorite, I don't mean player I thought was the best. It was my personal favorite, favorite player in the draft. So I always do my research and know what we're doing. But at this point in time, oh hell no. I don't know anyone outside of Cooper Flagg, and I'm not going to pretend like I do just to continue to talk about it.
Also, sorry, quickly. How many, just to anybody listening, this goes for everybody. How many people are really like dissecting college players to make their March Madness brackets on February 12th?
Hey,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but there are some people. There are people though. Here's the thing though. There are people out there who are college basketball heads who will tell you, "Oh yeah,
totally.
I haven't watched a game of NBA, but
100%.
I can tell you who the top 10 prospects are."
100%.
Like I have time to dabble in college. I don't have time to know what's going on.
Not to mention this, like leading up to March Madness, this time of the season, it's like NBA trade deadline, All-Star weekend, all these things that are going on, at the NBA level that are, pertinent to the Blazers and their kind of scope. I don't know. I would be surprised if you had information for me about college players and college teams, and
I'll work on
insane.
it. I'll
crazy.
work on it. It's absolutely tough. But
all right, this is the next thing we need. We need NCAA basketball.
Oh, if NCAA basketball comes out, I'm going to ham out. I'm going to ham out.
Oh, 100%.
That's why
I'll never be back here.
I do know a lot about college football, but that's because again, it doesn't coincide too much with the NBA season, and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
I will absolutely go ham. I still have NBA 2K. What was that 2? I think was it last one they made was I think it was 2K9. I think 2K9 might have been the last one, and then EA Sports College Basketball 10. I have both of those, and I still plug them in every once in a while. But it's so hard to play. But the thing is, if you went back and played NCAA 14, the gameplay held up. It was good.
Yeah.
The football was at a good spot, and the basketball games at that time were terrible.
Oh man.
And they have made so many improvements to the 2K series. So yeah, give me some college basketball.
100%.
Give it to me now. And now that we got college football, maybe it'll happen. I have a buddy who works over at EA. Maybe I'll give him a jingle.
Yeah.
All right, if you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. We'll head out now to Christina. Christina, welcome into the fifth quarter.
Hey, Chris, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh, what's that?
Why don't we trade Scoot Henderson?
Oh, Scoot Henderson?
Yes.
Why I don't want to trade Scoot Henderson. He's only
I
why don't we play?
I want to, and I have another question for you.
what's that?
I have a Brock Purdy card. I was wondering if you wanted it.
Oh, a Brock Purdy card, huh?
That's enticing.
Yes.
Oh, well, of course. I mean, I'll take a Brock Purdy card. You know the mailing address here at the studio.
Yes, I just know Charlie Valentine.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna be on the lookout for that. See when he gets it. Hopefully, he actually gets into the studio for Valentine's and doesn't get snowed
Yes.
Fingers crossed.
in. But no, you know how to get it here. You know the address to the studio. You know what's up. And to answer your question though, Christina, trading Scoot Henderson right now would make not a whole lot of sense. I think he's doing really, really well, all things considered. I think Anthony Simons is probably your most likely one out the door. And when that happens, that opens the door up for Scoot. And for all of his shortcomings and the things he's done poorly, I think you got to remind yourself that he's only in year 2. And
21.
And started the year slow. And basically since 2025 calendar changeover has been really darn good.
Pretty
He's
solid.
had far more good games than bad games, which is where you want to go. Showed that he can score. And my biggest thing with him is that I think when he reaches his best, that he's not going to have to score to impact the game. Because I think you've already seen it when he's at his best. It's getting everyone involved, officiating the offense, and just getting the ball moving is where he excels. And something you've mentioned too, much better defensively than I think anyone gives him credit for. I think he's only going to continue to get better on that.
Absolutely.
And as Han in King City says in the YouTube chat, Scoot's been really good. His vision is incredible. And yeah, you're right, Han. He's made some really, really good passes. My favorite part about him over the last month and a half is he still has games where, he has 3-4 turnovers. But I felt, especially last year and early in the year, a lot of his turnovers were lazy turnovers. An entry pass that he just kind of bounces in, it gets picked off. He's trying, got a guy in the block and he throws the little pass over his defender, but doesn't put any heat on it. Easily picked. Now, the assists or the turnovers he's getting are him seeing a window and trying to fit a ball in that window. And sometimes the window closes, but he's seeing that window. And that's huge. He's trying to make these passes that I think elite guards make, and he's starting to make them. And I think that's good. I'll take the turnover because you're trying to make the play versus the turnover because you're being lazy.
Absolutely. And I think also, I do think last year he did try to make those same passes, and it was the speed thing we're talking about where he sees the window, and before he can make an action on the pass, it's closed. He's now seeing, I have the window, and I can fit the pass here at this window rather than holding the ball for too long, any, other et cetera, or being too slow. I think he's really picking up to NBA speed, which I'm loving. And like I said, one of my biggest things I really love about him is he really gets DA and Donovan Clingan going early. He loves to feed them. He just, he has set them up for lobs that I am not even seeing coming from the TV perspective.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even seeing stuff.
He
So
sees them.
It's great.
It's the vision there. And it's just the other thing he's done in this run over the last month or so, or a little over a month now, is going back to football. We were talking football earlier, is he has got to the point where he's passing players open.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where I'm going to put the ball nowhere near you, but if you go to it, you're going to be open by the time you get there. And it's like Nikola Jokic had an incredible pass today, and it's a pass that's not going to show up on any highlight reel, right? But there was a pass where I can't remember who was cutting. It might have been Christian Brown because he was doing everything in this game.
It was Christian Brown, yeah.
But he was kind of going like looked like he was going for like a simple chest pass, and Ant cut it off. And he was smart enough to, rather than just let that pass go, he kind of midway through the pass turned it into almost like a volleyball type pass and just lofted it over Ant and passed Christian Brown open.
Yeah.
Brown gets the ball, layup. Like it was a beautiful pass because again, he saw it coming, changed it, and went from passing to him to passing where he's going to be.
Yep.
Money, got it over
Absolutely.
the defender. And again, if Scoot can do those little things, he's going to be great. All right, this is the fifth quarter presented by Coors Light. We're going to take a quick little break here. When we come back, we're going to head to the coach's corner, hear what Coach Billups had to say following this loss. We're going to hand out our game balls, and we're going to put a bow on this bad boy. Get out of here while we still can before Snowmageddon hits. Snowmageddon! Brr, 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 brr. I need a soundboard over on this computer. My sounds are not very good. Chris Burkhardt here with my man Peyton Davis and Brendan Slaughter. This is the fifth quarter on your home of the Blazers, River City Radio 620.
For the latest on tonight's game, we head to the Coach's Corner with Chauncey Billups.
Tough first half for us, but man, we came out of that locker room in that second half and really gave it all we had. We really did. I'm so proud of these dudes. This is a game that, in December or November, that could be a 40-point loss there, but our dudes fought their butts off, and I was just so happy for them. I was happy for Donovan. I thought he was excellent in the game. And, all of our guys, really, they all just fought really hard, They really did. They really did.
Is this a game that you feel like is more indicative of where you guys are right now as opposed to what last game?
I do. Like I said, this is a game that could have really, really got out of hand. You look at Jamal and he's on fire out there, and then Joker just has a modest 26, 15, and 10, where you spend 2 days and nights trying to see if we can stop him. He had 40 and 3/4 the other day, and then Jamal goes crazy. It could have got way, way out of hand, and it has before. We've seen it. But these guys just fought, man. They just fought their butts off, and I'm proud of that, and we played the right way. For the most part, we were getting crushed on the glass in the first half, and we come back and, close the gap there, which allowed us to have opportunity, and everybody that played just played extremely hard.
How do you feel overall about kind of where you guys are at going into the break? Obviously, these recent injuries,
Yeah.
all that stuff is kind of tough, but just overall, are you happy with kind of where you guys are?
Yeah, I'm very happy with where we are right now. Obviously the injuries don't make me feel very good, and I hope that we can lick our wounds a little bit, over the break, and we need the break. We all do. Need a little time away from each other, but that's just what the break is all about. But I am, Sean, I'm happy with where we are as a group, as a team. Our young guys continue to take steps, and I loved, these couple games right here for DC. I thought he was excellent, and he's gotten himself back to where he was when he was playing at a pretty high level early before he got injured.
Speaking of DC, 20 rebounds, 10 offensive, 10 defensive.
Yeah.
What do you like about the way that he just absolutely crashed the boards?
Yeah, we need all of them. We really do. DC is a really good offensive rebounder. When he gets his hand on it, he is his. He's done a really good job of that. He's established that early in his career already. But to rebound that much, you got to be active. And he gets rebounds that are not quite in his area. He goes out of his area to get these rebounds, which is not easy for a guy his size. He could just kind of sit there and wait till they fall in his lap, but he doesn't. He gets rebounds outside of his area, which is a big deal, and he's doing a better job of finishing, around the basket.
All right, Brendan. On a night like tonight, my friend, even when you take a loss, you got to hand out a game ball because someone deserves it. It is time to hand them out.
Who is the MVP tonight for the Trailblazers? It's time for Game Balls on Fifth Quarter.
All right, time to hand out a game ball. I'll hand out one, and you can hand out one, Peyton.
All right, don't steal mine. Just kidding.
I have a feeling you're going to hand it out to the same person, and that is quite all right. Let's say it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Donovan Clingan.
Yeah, totally.
You didn't even say it.
I was trying to think of a name. I was trying to go deep.
Come on.
I was going to say, I don't know. I was going to say somebody else. To be
Hey,
funny,
I gave
but
Donovan Clingan the game ball last game, having the career high 21 points. Coming in tonight, again, playing 30 minutes at altitude, still dropping 17 points, and then getting a career high 20 rebounds. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Only the second player in the last 10 years to do a 20, 15 points and 3 blocks. The only other, Victor Wembanyama. Yeah,
absolutely.
he's pretty good.
Company.
First Blazer rookie with 20 rebounds since Sam Bowie.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Sam Bowie gets a bad rap, but Sam Bowie did had a decent run with New Jersey. He was an all right center.
We've talked
The
about
legs
this
were
too.
just
It's not.
bad.
It was the right pick. It's not like today we're in the draft. Like you. We've talked about this.
Whoa. I don't know if Sam Bowie was the right pick.
It not necessarily right pick, but for the Blazers, like it's a similar situation where like back then you drafted players to fit your team. Now you draft players and then you fit your team around the player. Like if I'm going to get Victor Wembanyama, I'll send the whole team away. Everything that fits with Victor Wembanyama, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Whereas like you were drafting then to fit the core that you already had, which is the difference for me sometimes when I look back. At
Yeah,
stuff
no,
like that.
well, it's kind of like Jason pointed out the other day about, drafting a big guy seventh.
That's
it
exactly
used to be
what I
like,
thought
it's
of.
like always like if you had a top pick, it's going and you were going big man almost every time.
100%. Absolutely.
So
That's why Greg Oden was the right pick for us.
Well,
Like
most 99% of people were on the Odin train at that time. I know I was. And I felt both of them were going to be really, really good in the NBA. And to Odin's credit, he was until the injuries caught up to him.
absolutely.
But
I'll take a.
yeah.
It's the greatest myth of all time, man. Greg Oden
We
gets
have a couple.
Greg
we,
Oden gets lumped in with being a bust, and it's not a talent bust.
no.
Yep.
We have a
Injury
couple of
related.
the biggest what ifs. I mean, B. Roy also is still a what if to
Oh,
me.
totally.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
he
we
was
have-
like the second. I mean, it was like the three best guards in the league were Kobe, D Wade, and B Roy.
not a lot of guys in the league can say, "Hey, I got nod from Kobe. Like I can't stop this
Right.
guy." Like,
Yeah.
like that's
Pretty-
not
pretty
something
awesome.
people can say.
That little mid-range jumper was pretty.
That was money.
Yeah,
money.
Ryan wanted
Washington
him to pick
kid
Odin.
loved him.
Yeah.
I'll take a different approach because I think DC is a clear choice. But I am going to give a shout out to Jabari Walker.
Okay.
17-7. He makes a massive amount, or he takes really. He made his minutes the most they could be. If my math's right, his true shooting percentage was over 100. I think with the way he shot the ball, 3 for 3 from 3. It just to get put in a situation like that, like you said, where we thought we were going to see Duop Breath in this game and we don't. We see Jabari playing some small ball 5. He made the most of his minutes, and I want to give him some credit for that.
He did. He had a pretty nice corner 3-pointer that was so perfect. The net didn't move. I thought he airballed it.
I thought only Jokic could do that.
Yeah,
No,
I thought he airballed it. Fair
from
enough,
the deepest corner of the 3 somehow. I don't know,
Yeah.
but anyways,
Yeah, but no, on Sam Bowie, there's a SEC Storied, which when ESPN was and the SEC Network were putting out little SEC documentaries. There was one on Sam Bowie where basically he says that he knew going into the draft that his legs were damaged goods, and he hid it from every single medical staff and just basically kind of crossed his fingers to make sure that no one caught it because he knew it would have obviously draft stock
impact and
and
all
the
that
amount
stuff.
of millions. And it's funny because I think there's a lot of people who are, you'd be like, oh, what an idiot. He shouldn't have told the truth. But I'm like, no, with that much money on the line, I mean, even back then, it wasn't nearly as much as they're making now, but it's still life-changing money, right?
100%.
Like,
Not even
if
just
I-
for you,
yeah.
for everybody in your inner circle, your family,
Yeah.
all that. Like,
and you
that's,
don't know for a fact that your legs are going to, completely give out on you. But like, if it's the difference between going, top 3 and getting big money or falling to the end of the draft, like,
Yeah.
you might tell a fib here and there. Like, makes sense to me. So, but yeah, that's a what if. Brandon Roy's a what if. What if Ruben Boomche lived up to how awesome his name was? That's a what if. That's an all-time NBA
I always
name.
think
I just,
I always like to
Boomche,
think, what if
Boomche.
we got actual prime Arvydas Sabonis too as a what if?
oh,
Like,
if he came when he was drafted, there's championships.
instead of Duop Breath age Arvydas Sabonis.
There is championships, man. There was a moment in time where he might have been the best player on the planet, and when he
I
was
heard his-
so darn good.
This is quick. I'm not going to take more time.
Oh,
but
okay.
I heard a story. There, Kevin Garnett's podcast. He went on. He talked about Arvydas Sabonis, and he was like, it was something about like they were at like a rookie showcase or something like that. But Arvydas was obviously older, so Arvydas came in, and he was in the locker room with KG, and he was like, hey Kevin, go ask Duncan Robinson who's the best center in the league. He'll say it's me. Go ask Tim Duncan. I'm the best center in the league. He'll tell you I bust his butt every time we play. Like, was just talking so much smack to these younger kids. Like, he was like, Kevin Garnett was like, he talks smack I had never even thought of before. Like, it was just the craziest thing. But he was giving Arvydas a nod, and I thought it was funny. It was just, it was cool.
I think I've heard that. Oh, shout out. Han says of you. He's definitely not talking about me and my squeaky voice, but he says you got a very nice deep radio voice.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That's probably why Chris keeps having me back. Just like butter on the mic,
Yeah, I got to be careful though. If you start bringing people in who overshadow you, then you're kicked out of your chair.
I won't overstep. I won't.
You got good radio voice though. I'm still developing mine. It's just
Yeah, no, you'll get there. I can sense it.
Look at him. Oh, he's getting too big for his britches.
Yeah,
we gotta get out of here before the ego pushes us out the door. That is gonna.
I won't
do
be
it.
back for a while, you guys.
That's gonna do it for tonight's fifth quarter. You'll be back. You are on my calendar though. You're gonna join me on a future episode of Courtside here in March, right?
Next month. Yep.
Yep. So you'll be back, my friend. You will be back. For you Blazer fans, though, we will be back, but not for a week. not for a week. We are not back at this until next Thursday because it is All-Star weekend now. Nice little chance for Scoot to go rest up, get healthy, get back from that ankle. Maybe we'll get some good info somewhere down the line from Matisse Thybulle with another week off. Basically have everyone back maybe besides DA. That'd be great. Hopefully he continues to heal up well. For those of you who didn't catch it, a calf strain was the official injury, and he'll be reevaluated in 4 weeks. Scoot won't play in the Rising Star Challenge due to that ankle injury, but Tumani Kamara and Justin Minaya will still be down there. And again, for us, we'll be back next Thursday, February 20th, when the Blazers return home to face the Luka Doncic Lakers. We get our first look at Lukaville there in LA. 7 o'clock tip as per usual for a home game, which means I will have Blazers game day for you starting at 5 o'clock. For Brendan Slaughter, who did a great job today on the other side of the glass as always, and for Peyton Davis for joining me today, and the boss man Chad Doing, who's catching some Z's, I've been Chris Burkhardt. You guys have been awesome. Rip City, we'll talk to you next Thursday.